Hello and Merry Christmas to all of you. I'm Simon. I'm the creator of Weekly 50. You've probably never seen me before because usually on this blog I just post a picture and my audio commentary. But here at the end of 2019, I wanted to do something a little different. If you've been following Weekly 50 at all, you've probably heard me many times. And I just wanted to let you put a face to the name after all this time and give you my thoughts on the end of the year. And I think I'd like to do this at the end of every year, so you'll see this again in a year, and kind of talk about where we are and what I'd like to do for the future and some of my highlights from this past year. So a little bit of background, just in case you don't know. I've been doing Weekly 50 since the spring of 2013, and only in the past maybe year and a half have I actually been putting my videos on YouTube. And I hope you're enjoying the photos and listening to all the audio commentary. From the very beginning, my goal was not to get money or subscribers or anything like that. I started Weekly 50 as a way to help me learn more about photography. I had a Nikon D200, a 50mm 1.8 lens. My wife and I had a new baby, and I knew that if I didn't make it a point to use my camera, then I wouldn't learn and grow as a photographer. And certainly we took hundreds, thousands of pictures of our kid, but I wanted to do more than that. I wanted to learn how this camera operated and how to use the aperture and shutter speed and focal length and all those things to get the pictures I wanted. And if I didn't hold myself accountable by having a blog like this where I posted every week, then I just figured that it wouldn't be long until the camera would just sort of rest on the shelf and gather dust, and I wouldn't really grow as a photographer. So I set a goal. One photo per week. One a day was too much, and one a month was not enough. So one photo a week, along with information about the photo in both text and audio form. That's what this project started as. That's what it remains today, and that's what it will continue being into the future. Hopefully it will never stop. I don't do gear reviews. I don't share photos of my kids. I'm not out chasing social media goals. It's just me, my camera, and my photos. And here at the end of the year, I thought I'd do a bit of retrospective and share my thoughts with you about all this. There is one favor I have, though. My only request in all this is that you share this blog with others. If this has been useful to you or interesting to you, then I hope you would consider letting others know too. A lot of people get cameras around the holidays. There's a lot of Thanksgiving sales and Christmas presents, and I hope that those cameras aren't collecting dust in a few months. If sharing Weekly 50 with others will help people use their cameras more and learn more about photography, then that's the rising tide that lifts all of our boats here. If you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and get every video as soon as they're published. And if you feel so inclined to share the YouTube channel with others, I'd love to have more people enjoy these videos as well. As we close out this year, I thought I'd give a little update and share a little bit about where things are going. First off, things are great. And I recently redesigned my website. If you're watching this on YouTube, you might head over to weekly50.com and see the website. I redesigned it to be cleaner and more focused, and you might have noticed the giant banner image at the top that's been there since 2013 is now gone. I didn't think I needed it. Also, there was a verse from Psalm 19 that's been moved to the information page, and really my goal was just to focus everything just on the content. And I don't know that. Mostly I just wanted readers to see the photos front and center, and I think we're better off as a result. I think the new look has made the site a little more streamlined, a little more professional looking, and for some reason, I don't know why, but it actually makes it more enjoyable for me to post on it. Side note, I'm going to take a short break here and just let you know that if my eyes are going like this and then down, this and then down, it's because I've made some notes myself because I want to make sure to hit everything. And my notes are on my screen. My camera is my webcam, which is up here. So sorry about that. Maybe I'll have a teleprompter at some point, but for now, you're going to have to settle with my eyes going up and down and like that. That's just how it is. As I look back on my photos from this past year, one theme that I've noticed was kind of a return to basics in a matter of speaking. When I started Weekly 50, I only had one camera, one lens, that D200 and that 50mm 1.8 lens. So I shot a lot of photos with a single subject and a blurry background because that 1.8 aperture was awesome and still is awesome. Over the years, I've got other cameras and lenses, and I've noticed that there's waves where For a while, I'll take a certain type of photo. Like when I got my close-up filters several years ago, that's like all the photos you saw were just really, really close-up shots. I got my Fuji X100F. I shot a ton of photos with that, and I still use all this gear today. And I tell people my favorite camera is actually my Fuji X100F, even though it's not a 50 millimeter focal length. But for this, for Weekly 50, I've kind of noticed that in this past year, I've rediscovered the magic of that 50 millimeter lens, and I've really enjoyed going out with my D7100. I would take the D200 if it was more reliable, but it gives me error messages all the time. So I take my D7100, which I've had since the fall of 2013, and I've shot a lot of photos with that and my same 50 millimeter lens that I got initially, and I've really enjoyed it. I sort of rediscovered how cool it is to shoot with that focal length on that type of camera, that crop sensor camera. And that's kind of been one of the themes this past year. I also shot a lot of photos this past year, not with that combination, but with the Sigma 40 millimeter f1.4 prime lens. There was a whole series I did, like 6 photos early in the year, and that was really cool. Thanks to Digital Photography School for letting me borrow that, and I actually reviewed that lens for that site. I of course shot a lot of photos with my Fuji X100F, and I continue to explore a variety of types of photography, but I really did. I feel like I brought myself back to my roots in some aspects, and I really enjoyed that. And I feel like I've grown a lot since then, but I'll talk about that in a second. As far as my favorite shots from the past year, and this is something I'd like to do at the end of each year as well, my standout images in my mind were actually not taken with that 50 millimeter 1.8. They were taken with my my Fuji X100F. It was a series of sunset shots that I took at Milford Lake, Kansas, and those were they were standout to me for one because I thought the results were really, really nice, especially one shot where it's like purple almost, and I've never done that before, and it was really cool to get to do that. The reason that those particular shots were more interesting to me than just any old sunset was because you had that added element of the lake in there, and so I could take several minutes. I think those shots were like 2-3 minute exposures, and I've never done that before. And the lake was super high that year. It was like 30 feet higher than normal, and so things were covered in water that are normally dry ground, and so it made for a really interesting set of circumstances and a really cool set of pictures. And I enjoyed the actual process of doing that. It was about 9:15. I would go out at night, and people were back at the cabins playing cards, and I would go out to the lake and just sit there for like half an hour, 45 minutes. And not that I wanted to be at the lake by myself in the dark, but I knew I wouldn't get that chance for a while. And so for 3 consecutive nights, I was out there taking these long exposures. It was super cool, a lot of fun to do that. And those are my favorite shots. My runner-up is actually almost a cliche. It's a fireworks picture, but you know what? It's the first fireworks picture I've ever taken. So it was new to me, and that's one theme I stress a lot on this blog. Is it doesn't matter if it's something that other people have done. If the point is to learn and grow as a photographer, and that means doing things that are new to you. And so you might take a photo that you are really, really proud of, and if someone else comes along and says, "Oh, I've seen that type of photo before," well, too bad. It's new to you, and it's exciting and fun to you. So do it. Earlier, I said I had one favor to ask, which was to share Weekly 50 with others. I have one other favor too. I want you, if I can ask anything of you in the coming year, it's to find your own ways to grow as a photographer. Maybe do your own weekly photo like this. Maybe you join a local photography group and start sharing photos there, getting critiques there. Maybe you join an online community and share your images that way. Maybe you just take out your cell phone and start shooting pictures. You don't even need a DSLR or mirrorless camera. Whatever it is, I hope that you're able to find ways of stretching your photography horizons and growing as a photographer in the days, weeks, and years to come. And that's my goal for 2020 and beyond, is to continue exploring what I can do with the gear I have. And I recently picked up a new camera. It's a D500, and I'd like to explore, personally, I'd like to explore more wildlife shots. And I don't know how I'm going to do that, but I'd like to. I've got a 70-200 2.8 lens, and now what apparently is a really nice wildlife camera. I bought it to take photos of my kids as they play sports, but I'd like to try that. I try doing some animal wildlife shots. I don't even know what, but that's something I'd like to try. So that's one of my goals for the coming year. So to wrap this up, have I grown as a photographer as a result of this blog? Absolutely, in a lot more ways than I ever thought I would. It's been fun. I really appreciate all your comments and your support over the years. I read every one of your comments. I know sometimes it takes me a few days or even a few weeks to write back, but I read all of them, and I appreciate all of them, both on the blog and on YouTube. I hope you continue to enjoy being a part of Weekly 50 as a commenter and as a reader, and hopefully you find ways of stretching your own photography horizons in the years to come. That'll do it for this year's end of year wrap up. I guess we'll see you again next year about this time. Thank you so much. God bless you. And here's hoping your 2019 ends on a great note and your 2020 is even better.